Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Alex Thomas here, back with another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be reviewing season 2 of Game of Thrones as well. Like I said, I do have the Blu-ray sitting right next to me right here. I have watched the series all the way through. Like I said, I'm going to go give you guys my thoughts on season 2 of Game of Thrones. I've already watched the entire series, so I'm going back and rewatching the show just to prep for these videos. Also, I got a comment in one of my last video for Game of Thrones. Someone commented saying, "Oh, why are you reviewing these? There's already been so many people talking about it, blah blah." It's like, the reason why I want to talk about it is because I want to talk about the series. If you guys don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. I know you guys can go to other people's YouTube channels and see their reactions and their reviews and stuff like that. I just want to give you guys my general thoughts of how I felt about the seasons that I'm going through right now. So, like I said, I'm going to be reviewing season 2 on Blu-ray. I hope you guys are ready for this. If you guys enjoy physical media, watch alongs, reviews, trailer reactions, all that type of content, you're in the right place. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe for more. And let's get into the video, you guys. Let's get it. Let's go. Alright, you guys, starting right off the bat, in my Game of Thrones Season 1 video, I forgot to talk about two characters that are actually in my top 3 favorite characters, and that is Jon Snow and Arya. Jon Snow has been, went to the Wall to become the member of the Night Watch, and it turns out it's not what he thought it was. You know, he's kind of treated like a prisoner, I think, on certain ways. He's not really bonding with some of the people. He doesn't really like the Lord Commander and stuff like that. And basically, the way the story ends in season 1 is that they are about to leave and go beyond the Wall to meet the wildlings, because they find out the wildlings are coming up missing and something is going on with the wildlings or whatever. So that's what they're going to do. Now, Arya, I don't know how I forgot to talk about this, but Arya is in King's Landing with Robb Stark and Sansa, and she is training to be in hand-to-hand combat. And the way her arc ends in season 1 is that after she sees her father beheaded, she's taken away to be taken to the north to go back to Winterfell. So right off the bat, I love those two characters. Now, Jon Snow, I'm gonna get right off the bat. Jon Snow in season 2 has one of the least interesting plots in this story, because he's basically just walking in the snow, trying to figure out the wildling situation. He captures one of the wildlings, then he gets captured by the wildlings, and stuff like that. So it's not very interesting. It's kind of like they flipped his story, because his story was very interesting in season 1, but in this season they we gave you more interesting story. Well, maybe we'll come back to you in the next following season, which they ended up doing. So like I said, I still love Jon Snow as a character, but I think his story was one of the most uninteresting things about this season. Another point of view that also was not a very interesting storyline in the season as well is Daenerys. Daenerys does not have a very interesting plot as well. Towards the end of the season, she does, when she meets the people of Quoth, and something goes on where they take her dragons, and she has to find her dragons, stuff like that. That stuff is interesting, but all the stuff leading up to that, she's basically just walking in the desert trying to find a place to go because of everything that happened in the last season. You know, she's there. All her people are dying off, and they have no food, no water, nothing like that. So she's trying to find a place where she can be, you know, to get allies so she can go to Westeros. And that's when she comes up on the city of Koth. And they invite her in, and a lot of stuff happens where, let's say, they take her dragons and stuff like that. And the people, they don't trust her. They don't really like her either. So, like I said, it wasn't interesting at the beginning, but towards the end of the season, and when she finally, unleashes her dragon abilities, and she tells the dragons to, basically shoot fire at one of the people, it was actually pretty dope, actually. But those two are probably the least most interesting things in this season. Now we're out the bat, going back to the most interesting stuff in this season. We have Robb Stark is now the King of the North, is what they like to say. It's funny, every time I hear it, I kind of laugh, because it's the same guy that says the King of the North. It's pretty hilarious. And Robb is like he's like a conqueror in this season. He's like winning almost every single battle. On top of that, I forgot to talk about last season. They captured Jaime Lannister. Like they capture him, and he's held a prisoner throughout this entire season. And it's very interesting because Robb Stark knows that, okay, I have to keep him alive, even though he's done all these terrible things, like, you know, doing his sister, and, you know, you push my brother off a window and stuff like that. But we have to keep him alive because of we know that our sisters are at King's Landing, which we think they both are, and they still don't know what to do with him. And then it kind of falls back on him because his mom actually releases him because it's the mother thing to do that. Okay, if I release him, I might get my daughters back. So Robb has a very interesting plot in this movie. He also in this season, and it's another fallback on him is that he meets this like medic chick. I can't think of her name right now, but he kind of falls for her, and it kind of comes back to him beginning in season 3. We'll talk about that in the next season, but we find out he's a very complicated character. He wants to do some of these things, but he also has a heart at the same time, and he has to be king of the North. So it's Robb has a very interesting dynamic in this season, and also coming into the 3rd season, which we'll discover in the 3rd season. But yeah, I love the dynamic between him and his mom, and him being the king of the North, him trying to be a king at such a young age. He's probably like 17 years old or whatever. But now on the flip side, which another character which I did not like, and that is Theon. Theon goes to the Greyjoys, goes to his family because he thinks that, okay, my father has all these ships, he'll side with you, but he goes there and he's like completely neglected by his family. And Theon is a very interesting character. I hated him this season regardless of everything he tried to do, and we find out he does other things in other seasons, but I hated him so much. I didn't like him in the 1st season either. He felt like such an arrogant asshole, and in this season that proves that, yeah, he's a very arrogant asshole. He wants to try to prove himself for all the wrong reasons. He wants acceptance from a family that he knows nothing about. He's been in the Stark household for like most of his life, so he's looked down upon because of that. And it's very interesting because he wants acceptance, and he wants to be proven that he is a Greyjoy. So he takes over Winterfell, and he's such a terrible person. Like, he's so terrible at everything he does. And it kind of, on the flip side, it kind of comes back on him because they said, we didn't want you to do this. Why would you do this? Now you're making us look bad as our family. And they kind of take him out of the picture, which they don't take him out of the picture. He just get knocked out at the end of the season, which was pretty funny because he had this this awesome speech, and they just like knock him over the head, and it's pretty hilarious. Theon's a very interesting character. Yeah, I hated him though. I hated him. Another character that I still hate, but she's so interesting, and that is Cersei Lannister. Cersei is such a dynamic character, man. Like, she has moments where she's so despicable, but then she had those moments where, like, yeah, we can see a good person in her. She just been so corrupted and just messed up by being the queen and being in King's Landing and being next to the Iron Throne. And the one thing I should have said this how to start the review, but this season is basically the effect of the cause that happened in season 1. So Robert Baratheon dying put his son Joffrey on the throne, and he ordered Ned Stark head cut off. Now it started a war with the North coming to King's Landing to fight him. So he basically just started an all-out war just by cutting off Ned Stark's head. And Cersei doesn't know how to control him. So it's a very interesting dynamic between Cersei and Joffrey. Joffrey is a terrible person. I freaking hate him as a character. And he's going to become worse and worse within the season to come. But I love at the end where he's like, think he's so cocky. By the time we get to the big battle at the end, he's basically like doesn't know what to do. He's keep asking everybody, what should we do? What should we do? And he basically has to run away and let the men basically handle the fighting, which is pretty hilarious. Everything else, when it comes to certain plots, Arya being with Tywin is such an interesting dynamic. She knows that, he's a Lannister, so I have to try to keep myself not knowing that, doesn't know I'm a Stark, because I know that they're looking for me. And I love that Tywin know like something's up with this girl, but I'm gonna let her do what she does, and I'm gonna call her out if she tries to, do something stupid or anything like that. And I kind of like that he does that. I love the actor who plays Tywin. He's so great in this show. Now another thing I wanted to talk about as well was my favorite character of this show, and that is Tyrion, played by Peter Dinklage. This season right here was his winning season. Oh my God, this season right here was like everything I wanted Tyrion to do. Like, he was the man in this season. For one, Tywin makes him the hand of the king, so he comes back to King's Landing all happy-diley and tells him like, father's made me king of the hand. And Cersei like, everyone get out. How the freak did you trick father? And I love the line he says. He says, if I can trick father, I will be the emperor of the world right now. Like that, he literally told me I can be king, hand of the king. And the way he becomes hand of the king, he looks at Ned Stark's the things he had wrong, and he kind of flips it and like try to like tell like he doesn't want to be killed like Ned, so he like literally goes and try to figure out who's going to despise him, who's going to betray him and stuff like that. And I love the way Tyrion does everything in this season. I love it. I love his dynamic with Shay, even though Shay is not a great actress. I do love their dynamic. I love their relationship. Varys is great as well with this dynamic between him and Tyrion. Also him and Peter Baelish and Varys. I love their dynamic in this show. It's so awesome. Basically, those two characters like are controlling the game behind the scenes in certain ways we'll talk about in later seasons, but those two characters like know the game right out the back. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the new characters they introduced. The one thing I love about this season is, and after watching it back to back, like the one I watched it for the first time, this season 1 and season 2 felt like a great mesh of one full season, but this season alone felt like it was a much epic and like a grander story, especially with introducing new characters. So we get Stannis Baratheon being introduced. We also get Davos, and we get Melisandre gets introduced as well, and their dynamic in the Lord of Light, and him being the chosen one to be on the throne, and Davos is like doubting everything that Melisandre is saying, and Stannis is like a hard on like just a straightforward guy that I have to do is I have to take the throne. I don't care who's in my way. I will care everybody that's in my way to get to the Iron Throne. And we see how despicable, just how kind of like obsessive it is to be the king, like to be sitting on the Iron Throne. And we see that with Stannis throughout his journey within the rest of the series. And I love all these characters. I do. They're so great. The actors who play these roles nail it. They nail the acting. The acting is also stellar in this show. Obviously, a couple of characters. The actor who plays Shay is not that great. I didn't really like Cersei Turner that much in this season. She does grow more from season 1 to the season as well. And the one thing I didn't like Sansa at all in this season either. She's like being tortured the whole time by Cersei. And then it doesn't help the fact that we got another family coming, the Tyrells, and we got I don't want to say her name. Is it Marjorie? Marjorie Tyrell coming into the picture, and now she wants to marry the king, and it's kind of like a weird dynamic where it's, oh yeah, you think you were scot-free, but no, you're still going to be in King's Landing because we need to keep you here. For one, we know your family has Jaime, and we can't just let you leave. So it's a very interesting dynamic, which I do love. That's the one thing I have to give credit. I said this in my last review for Game of Thrones Season 1. This show loved to get you, like, the characters we hate, they end up winning, but then we have other characters that we love or we like, and they have victories as well. So, like, this show liked to kind of, like, punch you in the gut and also slide the rug underneath you. But you have moments where you have characters like Tyrion, where he has a moment when they have a battle coming up on King's Landing, and they kind of have a victory, but then it kind of get on the flip side where he gets betrayed, and then his father has to come to the rescue to kind of like defeat the whole entire battle. So in that episode 9, like I said in the last season, episode 9 is probably the best episode of the series. We have the Battle of Blackwater, and right off the bat, like, you got the big explosion with the green fire, and then on top of that, you got the battles on the shore. This series really know how to show how epic it can be, but also be great with the character moments too. That's the one thing I love about this series so far, on my rewatch. So, like I said, those are just my general thoughts on how I felt about season 2 of Game of Thrones. Let me know what your favorite moment in season 2 as well. Let me know what your favorite character in the season. I felt like I touched on most of the stuff I wanted to touch on. Like I said, I will be reviewing season 3 as well, which at the point when I was watching it, season 3 was my favorite at the time. Season 3 is awesome. At a point, but we'll see. We'll let you know when we get there. But like I said, let me know what you guys thought of Game of Thrones season 2 in the comment section below. More reviews, more watch alongs, more physical media, more Blu-ray hunting videos, all that type of stuff will be coming in the future. If you guys are ready for that as well. And I'm out on this one, you guys. Peace out.